Okay, now I got my 12 squares of batting. So now it's time to start sandwiching. Woohoo! I'm going to put together one of these squares just so you can see what I'm doing. This is the back, the flannel, and hopefully I don't know how much you can see because of the sunlight coming in, which I am thrilled about. But anyway, that's the back, right side down. And put the batting on top of that. You need to smooth it out. Make sure there are no wrinkles. Smooth it out in opposite directions. Flip it over. Smooth it out that way. Flip it back. And then put the block on top. Now the one thing about my blocks, and I'm looking at this one, these are supposed to be 17-inch blocks, and mine are not going to be. I have a 14-inch square. So when I put this in the corner of my shortest corners here, and measure, how much, say out here using this ruler, that comes out to not even 15 and a half. If I figure it down this way, that's a little over 15 and a half. So these are supposed to be 17-inch blocks, like I said, and I think what happened is I made some of my seams too deep, and this particular block is an example of that. I flip this over. You can see this seam is more than 1/4 of an inch, and that's been my folly. That's a much deeper seam than it was supposed to be. There's probably a full 1/2 inch there. These other seams are pretty much the 1/4 inch, and as you can see, when it is, these angles kind of meet. There isn't too much waste on those pieces there. But on this end, where the seam is wider, there is. There's quite a bit of an edge between here and there. And over here, between here and here. So my quilt isn't going to be as big as it's supposed to be. So my advice is make sure, if anyone's doing this, make sure that your seams are just the 1/4 inch. I think this happened on a couple of them, that somehow I did a much wider seam. And I'm not quite sure how that happened. So we'll see. It's going to be, it's not for a bed. Well, I'm not making it necessarily for a bed, although it could be used. It was kind of like a throw, a lap. It's not bigger than a lap, but to cover up. So hopefully it will be big enough, but beware of those seams.